All right, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another session of ML Pakistan podcast. The last one that we had was really interesting. We had it with Tahreem, who's also AGD in machine learning and AI. And this one is a bit special because we have not one but actually many in this session, and each of them have expertise of their own. I'm not going to take too much time. Before they can start introducing themselves. But just a few words about machine learning, Pakistan, or the community, and why it came into being. About 8 or 9 years ago, when I was in Pakistan, I was working with Angular Pakistan community, and the goal for that was to have a nationwide platform for Angular in Pakistan, which did really well at a certain point, but due to lack of resources, then it was dismembered, and then then we did small conferences, but not in the platform of Angular Pakistan. Machine Learning Pakistan came as a result of the TensorFlow user group, Islamabad. And the vision was basically to have a platform that is nationwide for learning, growth, collaboration, sharing resources, finding partners for machine learning projects or any projects, so to say, that include AI, etc. And one of the good things about Machine Learning Pakistan, why I became a part of it, is that unlike other groups, we are focusing a lot on podcasts and discussions with industry professionals, with students, and with even professors of universities, so we can get an idea of how the landscape looks like and how you should be navigating through that, and what basically experts say, and we have meaningful conversations along the path. With that said, I think we can quickly start having our guests on stage. So I'm going to quickly bring our guests one by one. So maybe we can first have Ehtisham on the stage. Ehtisham, would you kindly take some time just to introduce yourself, what you do, and then we can take it from there.
Assalamualaikum everyone. First of all, thank you, Hassan, for having me. It's a pleasure for me to just join your podcast. And sure, let me give a brief introduction about myself. So I'm Ehtisham Raza. Many people know me very well because I've been a part of many events. So currently I'm working at Hazen Technologies from last 5 years. Working in AI ML domain. So where I have worked in different domains, including fintech. I have worked in healthcare. Currently working in a litigation services where we have developed a Gen AI based solution that helps the lawyers to just simply automate their daily tasks using generative AI. And also, I'm working at Data Tech On. Data Tech On is a US-based startup that helping the professionals in the US if you're learning about machine learning, data science, generative AI, artificial intelligence, and you're struggling. So you need mentors and you need anything guidance related to wherever you're stuck. So you can just go to our platform, you can hire a mentor for a specific number of hours, and you can just simply start learning about. So I'm the person who is responsible for developing the whole platform, doing the execution, doing the development, all these things, and also I'm a mentor at that platform as well. And also I'm a part of academia as well because I have learned a lot in my academia time. So I think it's the right time to go back into the academia and deliver what I have learned from the industry so I can have a very nice collaboration between the academia and the industry. So I'm working as a teaching assistant at LUMS as well. So yes, that's all about from my side. Going to have a long discussion.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and it's really nice to see all of these achievements that usually can be seen by experts like you. And we'll talk about more on how one can do all of that, because I think that's a question a lot of people have. With that said, I would like to bring Anmol on stage. Hello, Anmol.
Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Anmol Zehrah. I recently graduated in a degree with artificial intelligence from FAST Karachi, and ever since then it's been like a year. But I have been working for a company called Atomic Computing. It's based in Dubai, and it's an AWS partner company. So, although I work in the AI and ML domain, but I'm leveraging all of these AWS services for different AI and ML use cases that are there. And apart from that, my final year project was Agrotech Vision, which was a very successful project that, it eventually turned into a product. And then we started off with a small startup with the same name, which is right now incubated at NIC as well. And it has been getting a lot of recognition nationally and internationally both. Like recently, I got shortlisted for a program called Empower Her, which is basically an women innovation mentorship program started by the US consulate, and it runs in South Asia, including Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. So there were total 7 women entrepreneurs selected, and I'm one of them. So it's all through the FIP journey, which has come until here. And apart from that, I'm also active in the community because I really believe that community building plays a very essential role, and it's very important to give back. So because I have received a lot of help from the community, so I also do different sessions on AI, machine learning, computer vision. So in whatever capacity I can raise awareness or I can help people. And I also have a small mentorship account on Topmate where I mentor students, especially those who are in the third year on their or in their final year. So that is just a bit about me.
Awesome. That's really nice to hear. Thank you for sharing. With that said, we'll also have Samullah on the stage. Hello, Sami.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. I hope
Awesome.
everyone is doing great. Thank you so much for having me, and it gives me a stunt of motivation. I'm sharing a screen with the people who I used to follow on my LinkedIn. I used to read their posts. So now I'm at a position. I'm doing conversation with them, and the biggest motivation of uh, telling yes to coming this podcast was to answer questions from SN Bhai. I still remember when I used to do bachelor's, so I used to send messages to the SN Bhai like, I want to grow in JavaScript, so just give me the roadmap. And I still remember, and if SN Bhai, if you can open chat on the messenger, so you will see how I used to behave with you. uh, all this conversation will go on. Like we have a long discussion ahead. As far as my introduction is concerned, so right now I'm serving faculty. I'm serving as a lecturer at FAST University Islamabad in Department of Software Engineering, and it's been 3 years. I am serving as a lecturer. Before that, I was doing masters, right? Before masters, I was involved in industry. I have worked with multiple companies on multiple technology stacks. As far as my BS is concerned, so my BS is from Peshawar, all right? I still remember when I got enrolled in my first semester back in 2014. So a massacre happened, and it was almost 5 to 7 kilometers away from the university which I was enrolled. I'm talking about the attack that being happened at Army School. So I held from all those traumatized situation, and I'm here, discussing my thoughts with you. As far as my professional career is concerned, so I am currently serving as a team lead at Artificial Intelligence Machine Learning Lab. It's a research lab doing research in multiple domains. We have a strong portfolio in Urdu language. We have a strong list of professors who are doing work in different areas. And along with that, I have founded a company that is Novosphere Soul along with my other partners. From last year, we are operating in industry, and we have worked almost 50 plus clients across the globe. And the services that we are offering that ranges from MLOps to LLM based system. So this is what I am, and I hope you will ask me questions so I can make myself more, you can say, public to people like you.
Inshallah, yes. And I can definitely say I will ask a lot of questions. Not sure about others, but hopefully, yes, we'll have. I think we'll have a lot of questions from chat. I can already see we have a bunch of questions from chat. So, folks who are watching, please make sure to send your questions in the chat, and then we'll take them periodically. And just to not, lose a lot of time, we'll still try to stick on a lot of topics and questions that I already have for these professionals, because I think that's going to be very beneficial for you folks, inshallah. So I think the first question that I have is primarily from you, Sami, and Ehtisham. Maybe Sami can answer first. and it's about when we talk about this curriculum that we create for students and decide, this is what should go in their course or in their semester. When it comes to especially AI and ML, what are the considerations um, that you look for today? And if you can answer a bit shortly, that would be nice. So what are the biggest challenges that you have when it comes to deciding this goes into the curriculum and this is something that we don't really want? So how do you think around that?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a very relevant question, right? Most people have this question in mind. So, answering this question, there are multiple categories, while tackling this particular question. Like, personally, I am supervising many FYPs, right? Like, a student comes to my office and they ask me, like, sir, we have a proper idea and it has a proper viability, but we are restricted in terms of resources. Like, this is the common, we are on the same page, like universities don't have the sufficient fund, considering the surge of artificial intelligence, machine learning lab. Like, personally, I think I can do everything if you can give me the proper infrastructure. Like, recently, I was working in a summer with the students and I asked them to create a bot that would be Urdu bot, and it will do interaction with the people with multiple emotion. Like, I am telling you, I'm sharing my thoughts right now. The emotion can be different. Like, I can share this particular thoughts, considering I'm angry, I'm happy. So once we dig in and we searched out, we needed a heavy infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean we needed to have a GPU, and it was out of our budget. Like, we were not at any position where we can arrange that budget and arrange GPU. And I should ask the student, this is the GPU, and then do the work. So, what I'm thinking, what I have questions from the industry, that is, like, if you are facing any problem, you have a strong client hold, you have a money, you just give us the problem, give us the infrastructure, and we have a talented people in the studio, and we will create a POC for you, and then you can convert that POC to the large scale system. So
Okay.
I personally think we need to have proper resources where we don't think like we will not be able to implement our thoughts into tangible things. So resources are the main key to
Okay.
make things easy.
So if I summarize, then one of the biggest challenges, according to you, is
Yeah.
essentially having the funding and the infrastructure for the
Yes.
courses. And if
Yes.
if that can be solved, then we already have some talent. That's
Uh,
interesting. Yeah.
Yes, one more thing. It's a short thought. I'm sharing it with you.
Hmm.
Right now, I am teaching MLOps course to the final year student, machine learning operations.
Hmm.
Right now, I'm utilizing open source tools, right?
Hmm.
But in industry, people are relying on uh, AWS, right?
Hmm.
AWS things, AWS services. Right now, as a teacher, I don't have any access, so I can give the student, like, this is the credentials and
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want. I'm relying on open source tools. Open source tools are doing the stuff, but not in that way that are needed to the industry people. So these are the shortcomings.
I understand. And
Yeah.
interesting. Let's take another perspective. So, Ehtisham, according to you and your work in the academia so far, what challenges do you face?
Okay, so I just recently joined academia in this year. So with my previous colleagues. So when I joined the academia, so we just first get with the interaction with the students. So we asked them what you want to learn. So they said we want to learn from you what you guys are doing in the industry. We want to learn how you guys take your machine learning model into the production. We want to know what type of architecture you guys decide. If you have to deciding an architecture, what are the things you have to consider? So these things students are not familiar with these things. So we must have to consider these things like we must have to include the course of cloud computing. Just like Samula said, yes, we should not go directly to the open source. Okay, that's good to know about the open source where you don't have any other option. You can go with the open source, but universities should invest some funds on these kind of tools as well. They should help students so they can learn this thing during their academia or during their bachelor's or master's part, so they don't have to go when they will go into the market. They will have to struggle. Okay, now I have to learn the Google Cloud platform from scratch. Now I have to learn about the AWS. I have to learn about Azure. So when I joined LUMS as a teaching assistant, so we get the feedback from the students. Okay, we are struggling with these things. We are not familiar with these things. So if you guys can help us, so we just simply had the freedom. We had the liberty. The good thing about the LUMS is they give you the total freedom. If you're trying to do something, just go ahead and do these things. So we incorporated the many courses related to the machine learning operations. Everybody knows how to train a machine learning model, but not everyone knows how to take this machine learning model into the production. What will happen if your machine learning model just you came office in the morning and you see the machine learning model is not giving you the right result, so it means your model is getting drift, model is making a drift. So how are you going to identify this, how are you going to learn these things? So only if you are familiar with these things. Unfortunately, these things are not part of the curriculum of any bachelor's, of any BSc, these things. So we get a chance to include these things. We used to then teach these things. I was responsible for doing the labs. So I conducted all the labs related to these things, which was not the part of the curriculum. So we must need to, if we are a part of academia, if we get a chance to work in academia, academia should be very flexible, including this thing, should be investing some funds, so students will be able to learn these technologies, these tools prior getting into the industry. It's okay when you'll go into the industry, you're going to learn these things, but now industry is expecting a lot from graduates. Many years, number of graduates are increasing, and there are limited number of jobs. So only those who are going to succeed in the going to land in a job, those who have these skills priorly. So universities must have to consider this thing. They must have to invest some time so student will be able to learn. So they will be easily able to land on a nice job.
I agree. Yes, and I think just yesterday I was with my friends and having tea, and then we were discussing the same thing, that we have layoffs from companies. Then we have fresh graduates who are coming in thousands and thousands of quantity. And then what does it look like for people who are trying to get some skills or get a job, and it's becoming really difficult. But building on that point, I quickly want to go to Anmol. So being a professional, from your perspective as well, when you see fresh graduates coming in the company, while the hiring process, or students reaching out to you for help, as you mentioned, you have a top mate profile as well where you mentor. So what kind of common problems that people share, that okay, this is a skill gap that I'm seeing, this is what I've studied in my university like 4 years, but these are the things that are missing that every company is asking about? What are those?
Okay, so right now the most common problem that I come across is that, because they would know how to, work on machine learning models, they would know how to, clean a data set, pre-process the data, but they have normally been practicing or developing projects on data which is either publicly available or in a very clean or already, neat form, that it does not need a lot of pre-processing. Like, you find like online data sets which are commonly used for academic problems. When you come to industry problems, their data is in a mess, right? So you will be dealing with a lot of imbalances, you might be dealing with missing data, you might be dealing with data which makes no sense to you. So at that time you know how to work out the ML side of it, but if your data is not ready, it's not in a position to, go to that stage, you will be stuck. And that is where most students, they are like, stuck, that, how do we work around with this data? So one of the challenges which I find common is this one, and the other is that, again, we were just mentioning so much about ML ops, that they would know how to work on an ML model, how to improve the accuracy and everything, but when it comes to deploying it, or having like a complete end-to-end pipeline, students might struggle with that. So these are some very common problems that fresh grads come across, and people ping me for solutions, or to help them in these areas.
Okay, that makes sense. One of the things that I also see is just confusion, that which tools we should be using. The classic question from the past 5 decades, like what is the best technology, and then I think here and there, how much should a person learn when it comes to being a professional in AI and ML, or which direction should they take? So when I see AI and ML, and I see how today we are navigating, especially someone who is already a software developer, has the basics covered. I see that there are two different paths. One for being someone who's really core ML, and they know the basics, lemmatization, blah blah blah, all those concepts. And then there's another way where we have people who start using the AI tools and become an expert of sort of those tools as well, trying out different models and just looking at predictions. Started using the web UI tools like AI Studio, we have ChatGPT, etc. And that is something that also is a path that I see personally is bringing people money, experience as well, and then they're growing in their profession. And how do you see that as? Uh, and the point I'm trying to make is the difference or the balance between the theoretical knowledge that you should have, and then the practical side of it as well. How much should we weigh on each side of it? And maybe we can start with Ehtisham to take your take on what do you feel like? How much today someone who's learning in the university focus on mastering these tools that could be the IDE tools like Klein, Gemini CLI, etc., versus the core ML, and why should they decide one or the other?
Okay, so both things are necessary. You should be good in theoretical part as well. You should understand how things are working. Let's say you train a model. If you don't know how it's working, how you'll be able to fine tune it, how you'll be able to get the better results from it. Let's say if you know how to interpret your model, if you're able to understand the interpretability of your machine learning model, how to evaluate, on which matrix you have to evaluate. If my evaluation matrix is returning me these numbers, is it good or not? So theory will give you get an idea about how the things are working, how things should be working, what are your expectations if things are not working, why they are not working. Practical obviously will able to allow you to deploy these things, to work on these things. So both things are equally required. You must understand the maths, the things, how it's working, how your machine learning model is working, what is the logic behind this model, how, let's say, how decision tree is working, how what's the mechanism behind the decision tree. There are many parameters inside the decision tree. What is the role of each parameter inside this decision tree? So you must need to know these things, because in industry you are responsible for deciding which machine learning model I am going to use for by this problem set. So if you're good with these things, if you're good with basics, if you're good with theoretical part, you'll be able to implement it. Because first you have to decide. You're going to decide on which basis, based on your knowledge, based on your experience. So if your experience is good, if your knowledge is good, then you'll be able to only decide. Otherwise, if you just simply go and implement, start doing, you can say hit and trial. Okay, let's first try this model. Okay, this model is not working. Let's try this model. This model is not working. Let's say for XGBoost is not giving me good results. Okay, let's go with the random forest. Okay, it is giving me. So after doing hit and trial, you'll be just simply spending a lot of time and you'll be saying, okay, now this is working. Maybe any other model can do better than this, but if only if you know how the things are working, if you know the things theory behind these machine learning models, you will be able to easily decide and you will be able to save your time. So both things are mandatory. You must need to grab both things. You must need to master both things.
Hmm. So I hear that there should be at least a balance between those two things,
It should
because
be a balance.
if you really want to go further in the career, then both of them should be there.
Exactly.
Okay.
One tip I'll give you,
Yeah.
one tip I'll give to the students who are basically joining us. So must learn at least from 2 to 3 different sources. Maybe you're reading from the first source, that will not making sense to you, but from second source will make more sense to you. So try to read different books. Okay, if you have adopted a machine learning book, buy another one and go with that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I've had a really different experience with books. I think the academia has put a hatred of books in me, and I did not read any books whatsoever apart from my, yeah, what I needed in the university or school. And that changed when I came to Sweden, so I started reading more books. So and I'm saying that because I know a lot of people who are my friends who feel the same. So it's a bit hard for people to read books, but I'm gonna ask each of you, what do you think about the importance of books? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, starting from Atisham. What would you say?
I love reading books. I all the time keep books near to my bed. You guys can see. So there
Hmm.
are a few books behind me. They're all related to machine learning. First book is for the hands-on machine learning. Then is a for machine learning for production. Then third is for the LLMs for production. So
Hmm.
there, I have many books in my rack. So I love really reading books because obviously by reading books you'll be able because I have to go to different events, I have to present, I have to speak a lot. So
Hmm.
if I have the knowledge, I'll be able to speak. So obviously reading a book is a very good habit. You must have to adopt this. If
Hmm.
I ask me to rate out of 10, I'll say I'll rate it 11.
Okay. Sounds good. What about you, Sami? What do you think on a scale of 1 to 10?
Initially, I will show you the book that is currently I'm reading right now,
Hmm.
so you guys can get the idea. I'm also a book reader.
Hmm.
Being a professor, being a lecturer, it is very mandatory, right?
Hmm.
To read, to cover theoretical part of something, like if you are doing something practical, so theory is must, right? Personally, if I tell my experience, if I share my experience, if I am exploring new tool, so the initial step that I take is to go to their documentation, official documentation, where I read all of that things that people, like, let's suppose if I'm exploring React, so what I will do, I will go to the documentation that is official documentation of the React. So it will give you the 360-degree, it will give you the overview, like what potential the React has, right? So book reading, I think it's 10. There is no second thought, when it comes to book reading. So book reading is must.
Okay, awesome. Anmol, what do you think? What would
Okay,
you
my
rate it?
views slightly differ. Like, I have been an avid reader. I've been a lot into fiction and sci-fi books and everything.
Hmm.
But when it comes to academics or the latest researches, I find myself reading research papers more than relying on the academic books.
Hmm.
Like, for me, it's easier to if I'm working on a specific niche, or if I want to research on a specific kind of problem, so I go and look into IEEE or these very recent papers in that domain, and find something, because reading is necessary. So it's not just limited to books. You can find it wherever you find the best content that suits you. So
Hmm.
for me, I would say research papers are a better way to go.
Okay, awesome. And that brings us to one more question before we jump to the second section of this podcast. So, Anmol, from you, I want to know from your experience, what have you seen in terms of the timeline where a fresh graduate comes into the industry and adopts to it or gets the necessary skills? What does that duration look like in terms of, let's say, months?
I think minimum 3 months to somewhere around 6 months. This much time you need to actually understand the dynamics, because from working in a very project based and a semester based system, when you come and deal with clients, and you have to understand their language. You also have to understand that when you're talking to them, you're not going to be technical. You have to translate your technicalities into non technical knowledge.
Hmm.
So it will take a bit of time. So I think 3 to 6 months is at least needed for you to understand, and to shift from a student to a professional.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that also then is a nice segue to our next section where we are going to do a more deep dive into what are the skill gaps between universities versus professionals or the industry. And maybe we can start with just having a quick rapid fire on listening from Sami and Ehtisham first on what are the languages, sort of frameworks, or let's say big topics that universities are focusing on right now when it comes to machine learning and AI? What are the programming languages and frameworks that you have seen in your curriculums? Maybe
Okay.
Atasham can start.
Okay.
Okay, so currently, if I talk about the lumps, we are mainly focusing on the Python. We are
Mm.
also, and as we are teaching the large language models course. So we are basically mainly focusing on the lang chain, lang graph. We are talking about the agents, where we are using the crew AI, small agents, these kind of things we are really focusing on.
Okay. What about you, Sami?
Yeah, the case is same. If I talk about considering the fast culture, so everyone
Mm.
is talking about Python.
Mm.
If I consider my course content that I am teaching to the final year student,
Mm.
and I am 100% focuses on Python, right?
Mm.
I take start from basic Pythons and then move ahead to the tools like N8N, LangGraph, LangChain, and the story is same, I think.
Okay, that sounds good. And from Anmol, you maybe a reflection on, do these tools, frameworks align with someone who's getting into the industry, or do you think they would need something different or more?
No, they would definitely need Python, TensorFlow, all of these very important frameworks that we normally do in our academia. Like, again, some of them mentioned using LangChain, LangGraph, and, N8N. N8N is right now really famous because, that also gives some leverage to those who are not very well equipped with, working with AI agents, because it's very simple and easier to use. So yes, these two tools do come in handy, but every other day you see a new tool coming. So you need to be very quick to learning these things and open to always exploring, because you never know which tool you will have to utilize in the next project that you'll be working on. So I would say that all of these, especially Python and all the frameworks, are very important, which you're already learning in your academia, but you need to be very open to learning new tools as they come along.
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
Ehsan bhai, I just want to add one thing. Like many student comes in and discuss this particular problem with me. Like they raises their concern by saying like we are in a industry, we are in a domain where each day, as Anmol mentioned, every new tool comes in. So with which particular tool we need to do hands on. So I personally think like you just need to understand one tool, you just need to have 100% hands on a specific tool, and the rest you will learn, right? If
Hmm.
I talk about data engineering pipelines when it comes to ML ops, so if you learn Airflow DAX, then it will be good for other tools as well. Like there are other tools like Ergo ML, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So if you learn the concepts of Airflow, so you will easily grab concepts of Ergo ML, right? So you guys don't need to do self doubt on
Mastering it.
yourself, self doubt on yourself, like we are not doing anything, we are not able, we are not that much, you can say competent. So you guys are confident, competent. You just need to do the you just need to do the proper work in the right direction.
Okay, makes
That
sense.
is correct. That is
Mm,
correct. Let me add something on this. So yes,
mm,
that is correct. Let's say if you talk about students are say most of the time says complain, okay, we wanted to learn AWS platform, but our instructor is teaching us GCP. So the thing is, all the cloud platforms have the same functionality. Let's say they have microservices, they have
Exactly,
VMs, they
exactly.
have Docker services, they have machine learning frameworks. If we talk about in AWS, you will have a Bedrock, and if you talk about the GCP, you will have a Vertex engine. So things are same, only the flavor is different, only the wrapper is different. Just master one tool. If you just
Yeah,
master one tool, that is enough for you for the industry. Okay, if you guys
agreed.
are really thirsty, we're really hungry to learn this thing, okay, go ahead. You are
Yeah,
already ready. You are ready. You have
yeah,
learned these things. You have learned a single tool. Now, if you go to another tool, GCP to Azure, from GCP to AWS, you won't be able to. You won't have any problem. You'll be able to understand how things are working.
yeah, yeah.
So if you guys want to spend some time, you must go ahead and spend some time with
Yes,
it. But don't underestimate yourself.
exactly.
I know only one cloud platform, but I will do if I go to industry, they are working on AWS, they are working on Azure. So don't worry about this. If you know any single platform, that is enough for you to land on a good job.
Yes, yes,
okay,
exactly.
that,
And
yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
add here to to what they said, because I'm a recent graduate, so I had some similar kind of feelings when I was entering into the industry. That this feeling that maybe I'm not ready for the industry, because whatever I've worked on is like so academic, and like I don't feel like it's going to match the market standards. But
Yeah, yeah,
once you enter the industry, you realize you already know a lot of things, and you can easily adapt if you already have a good background, if you have like your fundamentals are strong, so you won't have a very difficult time adjusting to the market standards once you enter it.
exactly.
So this is
And
something
I think
I personally
hmm,
felt.
It's a common
this kind
problem,
of
you know.
pain is a good pain. This kind of pain is a good pain. If you're taking a pain, am I going to fit in the industry or not? It's a very good thing. You guys are worried about your future. So if you students are worried about this thing, I think this is a good thing, but you just have to realize, are my skills, the things I have learned are enough
Yeah,
or not? If you think, okay, it is enough, just match yourself with the industry requirements.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's important to learn the core concepts, because
Exactly.
when you go into specific technologies you may or may not end up using those. So I think the mindset of, okay, I'm learning this and I'm going to use this for the next decade doesn't work. I've even seen engineers who still think this way, like, what can I learn so I don't have to relearn again? But that doesn't happen
True.
in the real world. That doesn't really happen. So I think I would want to go to a very important question that I think almost every fresh developer asks: how important do you think is mathematics in this area, or foundation versus practical implementation skills? And maybe I would want all of your input, so maybe we can start with Anmol. What do you think, how important is maths?
Okay, so when I was a student, I used to be very, questionable to that why do I have like every semester has a core math course in it? Like why? But once, I started working, and when I came towards the practical side of it, I realized it is very important because see, these things make a lot of difference. If you're just a Python developer with, good coding skills, you won't really have that hold on the fundamentals. By this I mean that there are some children who recently graduate or have good Python skills, and for a very simple problem they would implement a vision transformer, while that problem can easily be solved by simple CNN architecture. Just because VIT sounds more fancier to them, they would implement that, and that means you're increasing all the resources, there is lack of optimization and a lot of other issues. But this is where having a strong background, having strong mathematical fundamentals plays a very important role.
Okay. I saw one of the questions that I think is quite relevant to our discussion. What are your thoughts on vibe coding? Maybe Ehtisham, you can share some.
Yes, 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 yes. I think vibe coding, everybody should learn it. Everybody.
Okay, good, awesome. What do you think, Sami? Are you against it? Are you pro vibe coding?
Yeah, it's
You
a
should
really
not be.
interesting topic, right? You should
Yes.
rely on all these practices, but keep in mind, AI is something that will assist you. I totally agree. I'm a strong advocate of using Cursor and using Claude and using ChatGPT, but at the time will come where you will need help from your intellectualism, right?
Hmm.
So you don't need to rely 100% on all these tools, right? So I personally think it will help you to a specific limit, but it will destroy some of your intellectual property as well. So you can take assistance from tools like Claude and Cursor, but you have to keep in mind, like, you are the human being, you are the inventor of ChatGPT.
Hmm.
At the end, it's a robot. Yeah.
Hmm. True. Yes. What do you think, Anmol? Does it match your vibe?
Yes, I think it is good, but again, just like one of my panel members mentioned, that you should use it as a helping tool rather
Yeah.
than completely depending on it, because again, these models can hallucinate. They might
Yeah, yeah,
bring a solution sometimes which your human mind would be like, this is not what I require.
yeah.
So it has to be a mix and match of both.
Yes. Asan,
Let
Asan
me
bhai,
tell you
if
an interesting
okay,
thing.
okay,
Let me tell you an interesting thing.
Hmm?
So I was working in a project. It was a freelance project where I just joined as a consultant. I was overseeing the people of AI engineers. So that company basically has had a Chat GPT Plus account. So one day I saw the developers were not writing the code. I was just responsible to review their code, to oversee them, not to do any development, to define the architecture. So I was observing many developers were doing many silly mistakes. All those developers were just graduated from the university. So when I diagnosed that problem, I saw that on that day the CEO of the company didn't pay the ChatGPT Plus, and ChatGPT was not working. So they were just simply writing the code. They were asking the ChatGPT in a normal version of the ChatGPT and asking the code. So that was working. So if you know things are not working, you should find out what's wrong. If you're just simply relying on these tools, you're just simply wasting your time. If you know how to use these tools effectively, then go for it. If you can handle it. Otherwise, stay away from these things. Being a student, if you're in university, do your assignments by your own. Don't use these tools.
yes,
Okay, if you're not
exactly.
understanding any, you can say topic, any technology, just go and communicate with. Let's say if I have interview, I just simply take a picture of the requirements of the interview, just simply upload to the chat GPT and ask him, can you ask some few questions related to that? So I'll be able to answer those questions. So I will be able to ready. So do these kind of things. Don't just totally depend on these tools.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's often I think it, and I try to explain it like this: if I have to do my homework and I get it done from my brother, then I'm not really learning anything at all. It's my brother who's gonna get all the experience and or the learning and the growth. So I feel it's the same. I don't think vibe coding should be done personally, uh, at least not when you're getting paid for something and you're liable of the output. So I really like to do vibe coding when it comes to like building a quick product that I'm just going to use for myself, or
Yes,
building something that I already know I can
brainstorm
do
your
myself.
ideas.
So but yes, apart from that, I think if somebody is paying me for something, then I have to really, instead of doing the vibe coding, I would have to go towards the AI assisted coding, where I'm reviewing every step of the process and refining and making sure that I understand and I can improve on top of what the AI is doing. um, so yeah, I see a lot of people going into the vibe coding mode these days, which is really harmful for students, as far as I think, if you're relying completely on that. Which brings to this question as well, that when it comes to how the landscape of AI and ML is quickly being
Evolving.
so evolving, advanced. There are tools that are coming and they're replacing everything. We didn't have thinking models, um, until recently. We also have we didn't have access to local execution of these models with Olama and LLM Studio, etc. So there's so many options. How do you think that universities should adopt to these changes, in the sense that it's not just running around what's shiny and new, but actually something that sort of guarantees that they it would help in their journey? So not a really specifying something, but actually using something that's general. What do you think those major components are that should be taught in universities? Maybe we can start from Sami.
Okay, there are so many complications, right? Uh, like if I am teaching any course to any semester, so I will not only think about the students who are good in Python, let's suppose, who are good in AI/ML. What I'm doing is I would be thinking about the people who are new to the Python. So I will design the course content in a way so it can help considering the expert people, the intermediate people, and the juniors. Like there
Hmm.
are so many other complications, when it comes to designing the outline, considering the resources, as I mentioned earlier in the question you asked me. What I personally request or I personally recommend to the student is you guys need to rely on summer internships, right? You guys need to communicate with your alumni and ask them if you have any open internships. So I am open. I will go and I will spend 8 hours a day in your premises and I will learn the new tool. This is the one solution. Another solution is if you talk about FAST, if you talk about LUMS and GK and other related universities. So there are so many student bodies. Like in FAST, we have 50 plus student societies. So they arrange different talks from different industry experts. They arrange different workshops. So I personally recommend students to not only rely on a course content, right?
Hmm.
You just need to think out of the box. You just need to attend the free seminars. Like you can see, I personally think like in a world we are living, everything is on our table. We
Hmm.
just need to open the laptop, we just need to put the prompt and everything will
Hmm.
comes up. So it totally depends on me. It
Hmm.
totally depends on me how much curious I am. How much curious I am. Like if I have constructed the model and it's a large in size, how will I sustain this particular model on the infrastructure in a promising way?
Hmm.
So it all depends on my curiosity. The resources are so many. It just need to it is just dependent on my curiosity. This is what I think.
Okay, that's interesting. I also want to get another perspective on it. So, Anmol, maybe slightly rephrasing the question. one of the biggest challenges with all these updates and evolution of the content itself, how do you think that the academia would be able to keep up, like updating content? What should they do? Should they be consulting industry professionals to help out with updating the content? There should be some, I don't know, some sort of platform that
Yeah.
does it automatically using AI. What are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I think how rapidly these tools and everything changes. Like if I give you an example, I had a generative AI elective in my last semester,
Hmm,
and the things that we learn in it, theoretically everything is up to date. But coming towards the tools and the implementation, a lot of things changed just in like the next few months of graduation. So, but what actually helped was that in one of my electives we had a teacher who was an industry professional. So he was not like a full time professor.
hmm,
He was somebody who worked in the industry, and he used to just come as a visiting faculty and just teach us for that one specific course, which was completely an elective course. So if something could, like like that could be incorporated, so you have like an industry person coming in and teaching you the way that industry needs, so
hmm,
that can help with actually fixing that gap to a little extent.
hmm,
So that is something that actually helped him, because although it was difficult for us because it was not the conventional way of learning in a course, right? You
hmm.
wouldn't get slides, you wouldn't get the same kind of class discussions that you get in another course. That was more of a hands-on kind of a course. But yes, we did get a lot of exposure of how to directly implement projects on different tools, and how to directly make them ready for production. So I think that kind of courses can help.
Okay, so basically, industry professionals coming in
Yeah.
as visiting faculty helps quite a lot. Do you think that there could also be opportunities, and maybe a question to Ehtisham, do you think, or have you seen even in industry and in universities that faculty members who are actually teaching are upskilled based on what's new? And do you think that is something that could be beneficial? Maybe, universities reaching out to industry professionals to upskill the university professors, and then they themselves figuring out, okay, these are the changes that we really need to do in the courses that we have.
So if you talk about the lumps, the very good thing about the lumps is every professor is up to date with what's going on in the market. So even they are part of faculty, they just simply like to keep their self updated with the industry trends, what's going on. So they interact with us. We have sessions with them. We sit with them. We have a discussions. We have discussion over the tea. We have the cup of coffee. They ask what's going on in the industry, how you guys are working. So they have the curiosity to learn from the industry professionals. So the good thing about the universities, they should this university, they are basically bringing the experts from the industry. So that is a way to bridge a gap between the academia and the industry. So we know what industry is looking in the students. So we are teaching those things to the students so they'll be ready for the market. So this is not related to let me advise students who are basically learning from the industry experts. You must have to stay in contact with them. You should be asking more things because obviously there are many things going on in the industry, not only the technical thing. You must have to learn how to you'll be able to communicate with the client because client handling is the main thing. Okay, you are very good in technical things. If you're able to if you manage client requirements, you will be able to survive in the industry because you must have to meet the expectations of the client. You must have to sit with the client. You must have to go along with the meetings with the clients. So must learn these things as well from the industry experts. So master these tools as well, master these things as well, how you'll be able to communicate your what you're trying to do. Let's say if you develop something, if you're not able to present to your client, how you going to succeed in the industry. So learn these things as well.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to take some questions from chat now. So building on top of what you just said, Atisham, maybe we can keep this a bit concise. What do you think should be the roadmap of AI and ML in 2025? I think we want to take a perspective of someone who is a student and want to get into the industry. What would be like these bullet
Hmm.
points that you can think of that people should follow?
Okay, so if you guys have decided to land on AI ML engineer job, so you just have to spend at least 6 months in
Hmm.
your studying. So when I was in my third semester, I was pretty sure I have to land in an internship after my fourth semester during my summer vacations. So I started learning machine learning. Machine learning is a course that is taught in the seventh semester, but I was already learning this thing prior. I was taking the exam questions from my seniors. I was taking the books from my seniors. So asking them what other resources more I can get from you guys, so I will be able to learn. So start learning these things. YouTube is the best source. You can go over the YouTube, start learning this thing. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to go anywhere. Just stay in your bed. Just start just learning these things. Then go with the deep learning. Deep learning is the main thing. You must have to learn how to create a deep learning model, CNN, RNN, many other things. Then directly go into the generative AI, these tools. So in first 2 months, machine learning, second 2 months, deep learning, then third, then last 2 months you can go with the generative AI. So in the 6 months, you will be able to master these things, and make sure you will be just try to get internship after your fourth semester, because industry is going very fastly. You must have to go ahead before the time. So if in your fourth semester you able to land on an internship, obviously it means you already got the industry experience. So you will be able to implement those things in your F5P. So again, in this, after the sixth semester, go again in the internship. So also make sure try to get secure a job during that time. So you should make a roadmap like this. First, get internship after the fourth semester, but before getting the internship, you must have to learn the things as much you can, so you will be able to land easily. Let me tell you about myself. When I was in my sixth semester, I already had a job. So I was doing the job. I was first joined a company as a in a fintech as an intern. Then when I completed my internship, they hired me on a full time job. So I was doing my bachelor's as well, and I was working full time as well. So I started my journey during my bachelor's. So this is possible as well. Industries don't mind, companies don't mind if you are a good resource, they would like to onboard you. So just prepare yourself before time, because many people are, I'd still say many people are graduating. So everybody is looking for a job. If you just simply plan things before time, then it's
Hmm.
gonna happen.
Absolutely, yes. We can take the next question for Anmol. So someone says, I've learned machine learning and deep learning. I also built some LLM based systems for two clients. What to look for next to become job ready?
Okay, so if you already have clients, so you are technically job ready, right? Because clients give you professional work. It's not an academic project. So, but one more thing which comes in handy is that you should also have some kind of specialization. Like for example, you would have an overall good view of deep learning, machine learning, how to deal with different kind of architectures, but you should have specialization in one of the streams. Like it could either be NLP, it could either be computer vision, or towards the generative side. Like select one stream which interests you the most, and then build your skill set upon it. So it helps you become master of that one absolute niche that you're interested in, and that lets you make your portfolio in a way that it will attract the clients most towards you.
Hmm.
So I think that might be of help to somebody who's looking to get more professional, or go towards a specific niche.
Yes, and I think that's also a really nice approach based on, you do sort of a reverse engineering on what your target is, and then you narrow down on top of it. I don't like to share my examples mainly, but maybe I can share one. And that is, for example, I recently got an email that I'm now acknowledged as an AI GDE as well. And for me, the past whole year was basically trying to focus on this really niche topic of generative AI. So I gave a lot of talks. I think maybe more than 12 talks on AI, and especially generative AI, talking about Gemini, etc. And I'm someone who is not a machine learning expert at its core. I don't know, RNN or CNN. I don't know all of those things. I have a course from Krish Naik, who is a really good teacher, but I'm not really finished
Yes,
anywhere.
huge.
I think his course is like huge, 12 modules or something. I'm on the second or third. But I think this approach of, okay, where do you want to go? You have a job that you're searching for. You want a title, and then what do you really need? Because what I've realized over the years is that I cannot learn everything even if I want to. And I have like sheets of ideas or things that I had to learn, and then I just deleted those sheets. Like, no, I can't do this. I have to only focus on things, what what I can do. Anyone wants to add on top of this? Maybe Sami, do you think that it really helps when you do it the other way around, like the jobs that you're trying to find, and then changing your target of what you're learning based on that? Or do you think that people should go um, in like all the directions and learn different things to increase their chances, because both are sort of valid approaches when it comes to it. So what do you think, Sami?
Yeah, I will mention one proverb, right?
Hmm.
Look, a beautiful view comes after a hard climb. We all
Hmm.
are common on this particular proverb, right? Uh, Many students comes into my office and they ask me like, sir, I want to go to the data engineering field. I personally tell them, I personally recommend them, you don't need to restrict your direction. Like you are currently a student and you are restricting yourself to only the data engineering job, right? I personally recommend to the people, the opportunity that you are getting right now, just avail it. Just prove yourself like you have the potential of doing things and react. Once a project comes to your company and that is AI oriented, so the CTO, the team lead will have the idea like this guy has the potential. If we assign this project to this guy and we give them some time to explore AI and ML, he or she will prove his herself.
Hmm.
So I recommend to the people, start with the basic. Like you asked the question from Ehtisham, like what would be the proper roadmap if someone wants to shift from web development, let's suppose, to the AI ML. Look, start from the basic, right? Make yourself consistent, make yourself committed. Like it doesn't takes days, it takes months. Like you mentioned about 6 months. Like you need to avail the opportunity that is in your hand, and then you will gradually move on. You don't need to make yourself, in a state like, where should I go? You, at the end of the day, you will be at the position where you will not be able to say anything to any people. So whatever you have, just rely on it, just make your portfolio. But the only thing that is common is to eagerness to the world, eagerness to learn new things. So these things matters as far as my experience is concerned.
Okay, that also brings us to this nice little question. Maybe uh, Atisham left us or joined us again. Let me see. Okay, not
Sorry,
but
I
anyway.
lost the connection.
No problem. So the next question was targeted towards you, Atisham. So as a software engineer, I think you answered this, but maybe you can expand on it. Do I need to learn ML and AI like training models, or is it just okay to use AI tools such as ChatGPT and prompt engineering as a software engineer mainly?
So if you're a pure software engineer, maybe you need to learn this thing. You can learn this thing as your hobby. Obviously, fine-tuning these language models, you should know how this thing, you should know how the things are working, how to change the prompt, how to change the parameters. So if you're going to integrate these things, you must need to learn these things because obviously you're working on the back end side. So learning these things is going to help you a lot.
Okay, that awesome. Makes sense. And someone is asking, maybe Anmol, you can take this one. What about someone who is a web developer for 2 to 3 years and wants to transition to AI ML? I think that's a very common question we're gonna have. And someone says that, I mean, generally I know AI ML, but what does it want from us? That's an interesting philosophical question. And how do we transition smoothly to work? What does it want from us?
Okay.
Mm.
So it basically depends on your problem statement, right?
Mm.
So like some use cases there is no potential need of AI and ML. It's just an add-on, right? The problem is being solved by some conventional technique and it's not a necessary to bring AI ML into it. So for those problems I would say that as long as it's not necessary, do not just for the sake of using AI, don't bring AI. But where there are potential use cases of AI, yes, definitely you should expand your knowledge from basic web development to AI ML so that you can integrate these new technologies where necessary and improve your workflow, make it way more better. So what they want from you is effective usage.
Okay, awesome. Maybe one last question before we go towards our closing statements, because we are almost out of time, and I don't want to keep the guests for too long. So maybe a question from you, Etisham. If web developers want to learn AI ML in JavaScript using, let's say, TensorFlow JS, Brain.js, or ML5 JS, should they learn linear algebra, statistics, probability like stuff deeply, or just know the foundations will work?
They should. They should. Like I already told told you, learning these things, the statistics, algebra is going to help you a lot. If you're
Hmm.
working on a back propagation problem, If you're able to solve this kind of thing through mathematical calculation, then you'll be able to understand this thing, how these things are working, how you can get the better results from it. So learning these things are really important.
Okay. Yeah, and absolutely. I think the more you know these concepts, the more complex problems you can solve. Otherwise, you're just gonna be,
Exactly.
scratching the surface.
Exactly. It's not
Hmm.
about learning, you're just expanding your skill set, you're just learning more, so you'll be able to cover more use cases. So you are just preparing
Foundations
yourself
are
to
mandatory.
still, yes, that's
Foundations
true.
are mandatory. Foundations are mandatory.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why I have the Krishna course still
Yeah.
in one of my 200 tabs somewhere.
Uh,
So
I hope you'll
okay.
be able
So let's say, I think one of the important questions that the audience may have is, especially as students, how do they find these real world projects? Because I personally think that in today's era, where you have you have layoffs, you have engineers competing in the market, and then you're a freshie coming in with almost no
to.
experience. I think personally that real world projects that are, I would say, more customized and personalized, not just some tutorial that you have followed, but maybe you have added features on top of it. If it's a web project, you have used your own sort of theme, your fonts, your style on it, your name somewhere here and there, that basically gets distinguished when it comes to someone who is an HR and looking at these things, and he's not like, okay, this is the same as the last 100 CVs I've seen. Is the same feature, and I'm someone who has taken interviews quite a lot. So, what would you say is, where can these students find real world projects, opportunities for working on those things, like practically? So maybe, let's take one example from each of you, just for the sake of time. So maybe, Anmol, what do you think is the one thing that they can do to find real world projects?
Okay, so one thing is that FIP is a very important part of any student's degree program, right? So I would like people don't take this as seriously, but my FIP took me to a very successful side that it's now a startup. So we identified a real problem, which was from the agriculture sector. We collected our data ourselves so that we can get as real to the industry as as needed, and we actually consulted the domain experts of agriculture to get a better insight of what is happening, because we know the tech side but we don't know the domain that we're working on. So the all these steps which are followed in the industry for their projects, we kind of replicated it during our FIP journey. So it helped us to actually work on a problem or work on a project that would align very heavily with what is going on in the industry. So there are also a lot of different companies which collaborate with FIP groups and give them their own data and their own problem statement to work on. So I think that will be a very good start, because you that is like the right point to collaborate with industry and academia, and start with such a project which is bridging between your FIP journey and your transition to the industry.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a really good one. What do you think, Sami? What is the one thing that they should do for working on real world projects, or how can they find those opportunities?
There are many things, right? Like one can start from open source contribution. Like there are so many Slack channels where you will see people who are stuck in the minor thing of their real world project. Like I personally recommend to the student is like you have the skills, you just need to create gigs on the Fiverr, right? Where you will come up with the clients who are working on a project who are stuck on a specific problem. Once they give you the order, so by solving that particular problem you will understand the whole project. So this is the one source that I am recommending, and by this particular source you will get double motivation. You will enhance your skills, plus you will mention the project that you have worked and your CV, plus you will earn money. So I think open source contribution is more than anything else.
Okay, that's a good one. I personally, uh, just the choice of platform, I don't agree with that, because I think
Yeah,
Fiverr is probably an Israeli product, so I would probably
yeah.
not suggest that. But yes, open source, and then finding things to work on with real people, real clients, even projects of other people. that really helps. But yes, absolutely, great suggestion.
you you
What?
you can you can work on Upwork as well. There
Yeah,
are
yeah,
many other platforms as well,
absolutely,
and there are
absolutely.
so many groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, even WhatsApp groups are being created for selling things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And but yes, what you said is important, is open source work and then finding opportunities. What about you, Atisham? What do you think is the one thing that they can do?
They can find a problem. First, you guys have to find a problem in your society so you guys can fix that problem in your FIP, in your product. So just like we have many incubation centers in every city, NIC working in Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi. So if your idea is good, they can obviously incubate you. They can give you a fund as well. They'll be able to even assist you as well if you're having problem getting the real world data set. So they will be able to give you any kind of assistance. So find a problem, go along with that, make a plan how you can make this project into the full product, and just like
Okay, that sounds good. So maybe on the closing note, what do you think is the universities they are missing? So what would be that one thing that you think you would put in the curriculum today, and it at which part of the university? Maybe the first year, second year, fifth semester. Maybe we can start with Anmol again.
Okay, so I think the point where there should be a course where we have industry and academia intersection. So maybe industry experts coming in, or maybe some projects where you get the real data, because maybe universities and industries could collaborate on problem statements. So they give them some problem sets and some data and resources, and students are given those projects. So I think somewhere between third and fourth year, this would be like a very good time for students to get their hands onto such projects.
Awesome. What do you think, Sami?
Yeah, there are two possible things that I personally want to be enhanced, and that is collaboration in summer break with the industry and doing FYPs on the real world problems from industry.
Okay, so would you? So that would be something that you can add to the final year, and that is
Yeah,
actually working with, let's say, a company where you can
yes,
do. Okay,
exactly,
that's an
exactly.
interesting proposal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Atisham, what do you think?
I believe after third or fourth semester they should be teaching those things. So students should be equipped with those skills so they'll be ready to land on internship while they're after upon the completion of the mid of the degree. So at least after the third or fourth semester, they should be learning these skills from the industry experts.
Uh huh. Okay. Awesome. That makes sense. And what do you think would prepare these students, not just from the perspective of learning these technical skills, but when they try to approach, for example, companies? uh, I think, and I always say that getting the interview or getting through the interview is has nothing to do with your skills. um, Entirely, it's you may be a geek, you may be really smart, but if you can't really go through the interview, you cannot navigate your thoughts, explain those, then yeah, you're not going to clear those. So what do you think, when it comes to soft skills, communications, that students should look into from the perspective of, let's say, getting hired? And since all of you are industry professionals, maybe from the side of HR, you can explain what do they want to see in a candidate who's being interviewed. So again, maybe we can start from Anmol.
Okay, so like I mentioned before as well, that being able to communicate to a non-technical audience is very important, because when you're talking to your professors, when you're presenting even in university, when you give your presentations, presenting your work, you use these technical terms, and because your audience at that moment are students or your professors who
Hmm.
understand that language. But when you come to the industry, maybe your HR manager would not know that those technicalities, or the client that you're dealing with will have no idea. They would be business experts, but they would have no idea of the tech that you're talking about. So this is very important, to be able to translate your workflow from a technical to a non-technical perspective. Other than that, it's very important to be able to translate your thoughts into words, because sometimes everybody is very sound technically in their mind, they know how to do the work, what will be the steps, how will they
Hmm.
solve a particular problem. But when they have to explain it, they won't be able to translate that into words. So that is again a very crucial thing when you come into the industry, that you should be able to translate
Hmm.
what you want to do into words as well. And so that you can base, like, I think that is step one before you actually go towards solving the
Okay.
problem.
Would you say, how can someone practice that? In front of the mirror, having, let's say, a sheet that they can practice those questions, or would you say, having a friend, and then, just saying, okay, look at how I'm doing, and then criticize me or help me improve.
Okay, so the simplest way which helped me was that my family,
Hmm.
they're not technical, right? So if I'm able to explain what I'm working on to them in simple language, that is a win-win, because if they understand what I'm doing, that means I will be able to explain it to any non-technical audience. So you can try it by talking to people around you who do not have a technical background. If they understand what you're saying, what you're working on, so that will, because right now if you go to a general audience and mention AI, their first perception would be about generative AI, that okay, you're talking about image generation, you're talking about chatbots. So when I say that I'm working on a computer vision problem with, like, with some real data set, so they would be like, okay, what, we did not know this is AI. So to translate that into a normal
Hmm.
layman language, I think you should practice with people
Okay,
around
that's
you.
awesome. What do you think, Sami?
Look, you mentioned about the interviews. So I personally recommend to the people, like, appear in interviews as many as you can, right? The skills that you are currently talking about, this is something that can be learned from experience. Like, no one can come and teach you, right? So the practice is key to success, right? I personally, when I select student for FYP and for other stuff, so I don't normally look for the skills. I look for other things, like how committed he or she is. How curious he or she is to learn new technology stack. So I think you need to be committed. You need to be consistent. You need to have the eagerness, and you need to have the flexibility. Like, as we mentioned, like, tools are coming, and we need to make ourselves flexible, to make ourselves updated. So these are the things that matters. Uh, yes.
Okay. And Ethicham, what's your perspective?
So yes, let me give an example. Last week I was hiring a AI engineer in my company, a fresh graduate. I was in interview. That guy was sitting in front of me, and I was just observing that guy was totally shivering. I asked him, "What's wrong? I'm just very friendly with you. What's wrong?" So that guy was just freshly graduated from the university. He
Hmm.
was technically sounded, but he was shivering. He was just. I asked him, Can you show me a video?" He told me, "I created a robot in my university that has to navigate from one point to another point." So I asked him, "Okay, just show me." I saw he was scrolling his phone. I was just shifting. What's wrong? I'm just okay. Be relaxed. I'm not. I'm not going to kill you. So he was just shivering. The thing students lack in, they are not good in presentation. So you guys have a university, go in your presentation skills, attend events, hang out with speakers, hang out with other people, get along with the networking. So this is the thing students don't have right now. So attend events where you can just interact with the experts so you can get along with them. So don't get nervous during your interview. So this is the thing student must have to do this. They have the university, they can do the presentation, they must have to participate very well in the presentation.
Hmm.
Don't hesitate.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Yeah, like, going to events and then just giving interviews. And I think, if you fail, you fail. You try,
Yes, it's
next
totally
time in
fine.
a better
Failure
way.
is still a way to learn you, so it's totally fine. If you get failed, that's not a problem. Next time you'll be coming with the more
Exactly.
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 And
experience.
one of my jobs that I got hired for, in which basically the CTO of the company reached out to me, was because someone in 10 Pearls that I gave interview to, that person recommended me to this CDO. I wasn't hired in 10 Pearls, because yeah, it didn't work out at the end. But like, just going to these conferences, meeting people, even just giving interviews at different companies,
Exactly.
those networking skills or opportunities, I think they're super important for everyone who
Mm,
wants to really grow. You can't just sit in a bubble and then expect
exactly.
otherwise. Then awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to wrap it up, because I respect your time. A quick rapid fire before we wrap up. So maybe one question for each of you. and you have to be really quick. So, Anmol, what is your favorite AI ML resource for learning?
Okay, for learning, I would say that you should experiment
Hmm?
as much as you want with different tools, right? And don't restrict yourself to just one specific tool. You can try out different kinds of tools. And if you want to stick to learning, like what kind of things do I learn? So I think YouTube is a
Hmm.
very good resource. And if you're going towards cloud, then each of the cloud platforms have their own skill builders. Like AW has a skill builder, so these could be very good resources for those who are
Hmm?
starting to learn these things.
Absolutely. All right, Sami. What do you think
Uh,
is the more? No, I have a different question for you.
okay.
What do you think is the most underrated versus overrated skill in ML?
I think I need some more elaboration.
So let's say if I say vibe coding or using ChatGPT is quite overrated. It's not as good as people think it is. For the sake of it, what do you think is the most underrated that you think is really important, but people don't really know about that? So let's talk about a skill that you think that is not as appreciated in machine learning and AI.
Mm, I think understanding the data is
Hmm.
to key to have. You can say, I'm not sure what exact word should I use.
Hmm.
If you want to have a promising model in production, you
Hmm.
need to have the skill when you look at the data and you ended up the complete pipeline in the mind. So
Hmm.
understanding the data, this is something very important. Like
Uh-huh.
if I take analogy from traditional software engineering, so if you skip requirements engineering, so you will have a strong consequences once you deploy the system to the production. So understanding the data is key to the better model at production. And
Hmm.
then you mentioned the other skill. Can you come up again?
That was something that's overrated. So it's used a lot, but it's not as important.
Posting on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
I'm gonna stop posting as frequently now.
No, no. So, look, I just want to add one more thing. I was reading a post on LinkedIn, and a
Hmm.
guy mentioned like those who are talking about artificial intelligence nowadays, they don't even know about decision tree, how decision
Okay.
tree works.
Hmm.
So you need to have proper foundations. You
Hmm.
need to know, like if I give this data set to the model, so
Hmm.
you will have the complete depiction. You will have the complete image in the mind. Then
Hmm.
you can say like AI will change the world, AI will
Hmm.
replace the teachers, AI will replace this and that. First, you need to have the proper skills.
I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and I agree. All right, Etisham, question for you. What is the one piece of advice that you will give to anyone who's starting AI ML that they can do today, for example, like right from this podcast? What can they do right away
Start learning from books.
from books? So buying a book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry?
What was the book that you would recommend for just starting out?
Yes, when I started machine learning, I started the book Hands on Machine Learning with Scikit-learn and
Hmm.
TensorFlow. That's
Okay.
a very famous book.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a really nice suggestion. Awesome. That's great. I think we are going to wrap it up. Are there any last words that any one of you would want to say to the audience or for the podcast itself on how we can improve? And maybe just what you feel about the podcast today.
I just add one thing,
Hmm?
and that is keep trust on your process,
Hmm?
right? The day will come where you will see yourself on a level that you are considering a best level for yourself. Like most people doubt on their self, like this is not something like Allah has made you very perfectly. You have so much potential, you just need to spend time, right? You just need to acquire the proper roadmap, and you just need to grind yourself. Time will come where you will realize like this was the situation that I used to think. So keep trusting the process, and everything will happen when the right time comes.
inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Atisham, what do you think?
Same, I would like to expand this.
Hmm?
When I was in my fourth semester, I just simply enrolled in a diploma of AI that used to have the classes used to held on Sunday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So our instructor used to say this, you guys are here, you guys are not on your bed, you guys are coming here, so you're spending your extra time on this. So keep this in your mind, trust on Allah, you're going to get reward of this. So just believe the process, keep your efforts just like you guys are doing. And
Yeah.
obviously in the at the end you will see the things happening in your favor. So and I have witnessed these things right now. Many students just get overwhelmed. I'll be able to land on a job or not. You will get for what you are struggling.
Absolutely. Anmol, anything that you want to add?
Yeah, so a lot of people, they don't start off in anything because of the, fear of
Mhm.
failure. So not trying is itself a
Yeah.
failure. And, starting off with something and then not getting the derived result is still some kind of progress. Because if you, do not get the desired results, you will work on it again and reach somewhere. So that's still progress. But, the fear of it and not trying at all is going to hold you back. And that is the real failure. So, and I would always suggest everyone to never run away from hard work, because your efforts will always come back to you. If not uh, at that moment, somewhere down the lane, they will come back to you. So hard work and kindness goes a very long way. So that's
Awesome.
all I would say.
Thank you. It was really nice talking to all of you. I think this was a really good
Same
session.
here.
We got so much insights from you, and it's. I think it's in a blessing itself to being able to pick these brains and just looking at what you folks think about different topics, and it's. I think it's beneficial for the audience as well. Um,
I hope.
Yes, it was. I think one thing that I would
Mhm.
add on top of what Anmol said is the fear of failure is essentially what stops quite a lot. And when we talk about experience in an industry, the experience only comes when you are getting stuck and then you come out of it. That is the experience. I can't. There's no one that I know in the world that can solve a completely new problem without any experience. They would be stuck, and the only things that they can do faster is the thing that they have done in the past or something similar. So and I think that is one of the approaches that people see. Sorry, you were saying something?
No, no.
Okay. Awesome. Then I would thank you again. I hope that I will be able to catch you again for a podcast in the
Sure,
future, and
sure.
inshallah to be able to work with you on something as well. It was really nice
Sure.
having you, and thank you so much for taking your time on a Sunday. Oh, sorry, on a Saturday.
Saturday.
Yes, I'm still in the Friday mode, I think. But yes, but thank you so much for your time. I'm going to share all the links of your socials so people can start following you as well and your content. I'm uh, uh, I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of good things to say, and people would be reaching out for help, for mentorship, and even normal questions as well. So again, thank you so much for joining, and with
Thank you
that,
for having us.
no problem.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
and I'll
Jazakallah
see
khair.
you next time, inshallah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Inshallah.
Okay.
Inshallah.
All right, with that said, we are going to quickly wrap this up, and thank you everyone who watched us today. Make sure to press the button that just helps push the content to more people, and then more people can get value out of it as well. That also encourages us to bring more people in, and then spend time and efforts on bringing these valuable lessons and industry experience to you as well. And I'm really glad that we have this community called Machine Learning Pakistan, which is helping us do all of this. With that said, thank you everyone for joining. You can see the QR code right here that you can scan and give feedback. And what I'll do is that I'll post on LinkedIn, Facebook, both those platforms, the links of all these amazing people that we have had today. And you can start following their socials as well. With that said, thank you for watching. And as always, happy coding. I'm going to see you next time.